Back in June, we were given a fiberglass pond which sat on our lawn for a couple of weeks until Graham had the opportunity to dig a hole big enough to put it in. Shortly after this, we were asked to take on 3 goldfish that needed to be moved from their home in someone else's garden pond, which was being emptied. Graham promptly arrived with these goldfish, and as a temporary measure, we put them in the biggest container in the garden we could find until the hole was dug and the new pond was filled. We'd been told to wait a few days between filling the new pond and transferring the goldfish, but the morning after the water went in, we discovered one of the fish floating on top of its temporary home, looking very much dead. Graham, however, thought he saw the slightest flicker of life and mentioned that in the past his mum had revived goldfish with whiskey, and having nothing to lose, we decided to give it a try. Graham held the motionless fish while I poured a teaspoon of whiskey in its mouth, and it gave a cough and a splutter. At this point, we decided that the fish needed to take their chance in the new pond, even though the water hadn't been in very long. But although the fish was now obviously moving its mouth, it wasn't moving anywhere else, and was sort of lolling half on its side. Graham lifted it out again, and I administered another teaspoon of whiskey. Graham put the fish back in the pond, and it shot off like lightning and went whizzing around, exploring its new home. The other 2 fish were put in to join it and seemed similarly happy with their new environment. A few days later, we noticed some unusual behaviour that we guessed might be mating, and by the end of that week, we spotted lots of fish eggs in the pond plants. Within a fortnight, we had gone from having 1 fish that was at death's door to having 3 happy fish, plus babies on the way. For a long time we wondered what was happening because the eggs seemed to have disappeared, but we couldn't see any signs of young fish. And then about 3 weeks ago we spotted them. 3 at first, about 5 or 6 centimetres long. Then the more we looked, the more we saw, and although we have since lost some of those babies, we have also discovered even more eggs among the greenery. Now we're having to test the water and make sure that it's a healthy place for all these fish to be, as we want them to do well and to thrive. I've been thinking a lot about these fish in the last few weeks, particularly as I've been thinking about belonging. I've been thinking about the energy and apparent enthusiasm of those first fish we inherited when they were literally in their element, in the environment that suited them much better. And I've been thinking about their fruitfulness and their growth, and about the fact that even though one of them was practically dead, miraculously new life and even prolific and abundant life has come. I'm currently in the stationing process, the means by which Methodist ministers are matched with a new appointment during the year before their current appointment comes to an end. Circuits looking for a new minister and ministers looking for a new circuit all have to put together a profile which is circulated, and then the district chairs and lay stationing representatives all meet in a series of monthly sessions beginning in November to try and match the gifts and requirements of both circuits and ministers. I'm due to move next summer, and so in the middle of October I received the profiles of circuits. I spent several days reading and praying through each one, asking myself, do I think I could belong here? There were some where the answer was a very definite, no, this doesn't feel like the place for me. There were a few that made me feel very excited, and there were also quite a lot that I didn't want to reject completely, but that didn't exactly set me on fire. Where is God asking me to go, and what is God asking me to do? Where is the place that God is preparing for me? Where do I belong? Where will I discover renewed energy and enthusiasm? Where will I be able to nurture fruitfulness and growth in my own life and in the lives of the churches and communities in which I'll offer my service to God? Circuits will be praying and asking similar questions, and perhaps there are also other times when all of us are challenged to ask ourselves those questions, even when we've been in a place for a long time and have felt very settled and happy. Do I still belong here? Is there somewhere else to which God is calling me to go? How can I experience the Spirit in a new and different way, renewing my energy and enthusiasm? Is this place still home? Or is God calling me to be somewhere new? Since the list of possible appointments was produced, I found it very hard to settle down and focus on the here and now. Past experience has shown me that once I know where I will be going, it does become much easier to set my mind on the present. But at the moment, I'm wondering all the time, where will it be? Where will I belong? What will I be doing this time next year? We all like to feel that we belong somewhere. It can be hard to be in a place where we feel that we don't belong, we don't fit in. And as we grow and change, it can be even harder, because sometimes there are places where we know we did belong once, but now we feel we don't belong anymore. I feel very fortunate that wherever I have been in my adult life, I have felt for a time, be that long or short, that I have belonged, that God has placed me there and used me there and blessed me there. But I am thankful that I have also always felt that tug of the Spirit and that draw to move on to be with new people in new places. The unsettling of my belongingness that has made me ready to step out and rediscover myself and recommit myself to loving and following Jesus. I am thankful because belonging in one particular place is only one part of belonging. I know that primarily I belong in Christ. Through him I find my belonging in God. And because of that, wherever I am placed and whatever I am doing, I have a deep sense of belonging, a deep sense of being loved, no matter what may be going on around me. The fish in our pond give me a lot of joy, and when I look at them, I think about myself and my family, and I think about what it means to belong and what it means to be in the right place for me. I don't need the occasional teaspoon of whiskey to stir me up and excite me, but I do need the daily touch of the Spirit to inspire me, to energise me, to keep me moving on in the journey of following Jesus, to stir me up when I feel too comfortable and settled, to give me courage and wisdom to hold to the way of Christ even when it's not the popular choice, to help me grow, to make me fruitful, and most of all, to remind me that I belong. I belong to God before I belong anywhere else, and secure in that knowledge I can face whatever lies ahead. I belong to God, and wherever God places me, I will still belong. I belong, and as long as I choose to live within the element of God's love and care, I know that I am home.